I'm going to say something that might sting a little, but I say it with love because I've been on the receiving end of it too. You could be an incredible teacher, a devoted parent, someone who has studied, prepared, and genuinely cares. You could do everything right and still have a child who won't receive what you're offering. Not because you're failing, not because the child is broken, but because before a child can learn from you, they have to trust you. And trust for some children doesn't come just because you showed up with good intentions. Welcome to the Butterfly Wilson Talk, where we have real conversations about what it actually takes to raise a child who believes in themselves. I'm Dr. Wilson. I want to be upfront with you. I'm not a licensed therapist or psychologist, but I am an educator who has worked with hundreds of students in real classrooms every single day. I've spent over 20 years in the trenches working with students who were written off, overlooked, and misunderstood. Today, we're talking about the trust gap, that invisible distance between a child and the adult who is trying to reach them. It's the season or the reason some children respond and some children shut down. Sometimes teachers and parents have that season where they're going through that. And even when the lesson, the content, and the delivery are exactly the same, most teachers address the learning first. I've learned the hard way to address the relationship first because you cannot pour anything into a cup that is face down. I want to share a little story with you. I want to tell you about a student, and I'll call him Deshaun. Deshaun walked into my class 2 months into the school year, transferred from another school, another district, another set of adults who hadn't worked out. He sat in the back, arms crossed, didn't bring supplies, didn't engage, didn't cause problems either. He was just, absent, even when he was present. His file said unmotivated, disengaged, behind grade level. But here what his file didn't say. Deshaun had been in 4 schools in 3 years. He had learned something very important along the way. Adults leave, adults disappoint, adults say they care, right up until the moment it gets hard. And then they hand you to the next adult who makes the same promises. He wasn't unmotivated, he was defended. I didn't try to teach Deshaun for the first 2 weeks. I just talked to him. I asked about music. I asked about his neighborhood. I didn't make it about school. And one morning, about 3 weeks in, he came in, sat down in his regular seat, and he brought a pencil. He didn't say anything, he just had a pencil. That pencil was a declaration of trust, and I didn't take it for granted. If you're ready, I'm ready. That's all I said, and that was enough. See, here's the real problem. Here's what most adults get backwards when it comes to resistant children. We think the resistance is about the work. We think if we make the lessons more engaging, more visual, more relevant, the child will come around. And sometimes that helps. But for many children, particularly children who have experienced inconsistency, instability, or adults who said one thing and did another, the resistance isn't about the content at all. It's about whether they feel safe. Their brain has a question before it will let them learn anything from you. That question is not, is this interesting? The question is, can I trust you? Will you stay? If I let you in, will you hurt me? Will I survive it? And until that question is answered through action, through consistency, through you choosing connection over correction again and again, the lesson is noise. This is what I mean when I say about teachers are reactive instead of proactive. A reactive approach waits for a child to perform before investing in the relationship. It says, show me you're worth my effort, and then I'll give it. A proactive approach builds a relationship before the behavior becomes an issue. It says, I'm going to earn your trust because I know the trust is what teaching actually runs on. The relationship is the instruction. Here are my solutions, what you can do today. 3 proactive strategies for building trust before it becomes a crisis. Strategy number 1, learn one more thing about them that has nothing to do with school. Ask about music, ask about sports, a hobby, a show they watch, and what they remember about maybe their best moment in life. Like reference it, the next day. Like, hey, did that game happen last night or who won? This is not small talk. This is signal. It tells a child you are more to me than a student. I see you as a person, and that to a child who has been reduced to a file and a grade is everything. Strategy number two, greet before you instruct. Before you give a direction, before you address the behavior, before you redirect, make contact, a nod, a name. Good morning, Deshaun. Glad you're here. This is not soft. This is strategic. Research in educational psychology is clear. Children are significantly more responsive to correction from adults they feel connected to. Let me say that again for everybody in the back. Okay? This is strategic. Research in education psychology is clear. Children are significantly more responsive to correction from adults they feel connected to. The greeting is an investment in every conversation that comes after it. Instead of take your seat and get your materials out, try, good morning, glad you made it. When you're ready, let's get going. One version starts with the expectation, the other starts with the person. The second one lands differently, especially for a child who expects to be invisible until they cause a problem. Strategy number three. I'm going to clear my throat for this one because the consistency matters. Be consistent with the small things. Trust is not built in grand gestures, it is built in repetition. It is built when you say, I'll check on you tomorrow, and you actually do. When you say, I'll have that graded by Friday, and you actually do. For a child who has been let down by adults, every small promise you keep is a deposit. And every deposit makes the next interaction a little safer. You don't have to be perfect. You have to just be what? The big OC word, consistent. You cannot teach a child who doesn't trust you. But once they do, there is almost nothing you cannot teach them. In closing, I want to leave you with this. If you have a child who isn't receiving you, whose walls are up, whose eyes are distant, whose behavior says, don't bother, don't take it personally. Take it as information. That child is telling you, I've been here before. I've been promised before. Show me something different. Show me consistency. Show me that you mean it. And if you keep showing up one small, consistent thing at a time, the day will come when they pull out a pencil or ask a question or look you in the eye for the first time. And you will know that's not just progress, that's trust. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be present. Here is my call to action for you. If this episode made you think of a child or a student in your life, commit to one of these three strategies this week. Just one. Pick the one that feels most doable and try it every day for 5 days. Share this episode with one person, a teacher, a coach, a parent who works with a child who is hard to reach. Because what looks like a hard to reach child is almost every child or a child wanting to be approached differently. New episodes for Dr. Wilson's Butterfly Talk will drop every single week. Subscribe on Spotify so you'll never miss one. Until next time, keep showing up for your children, keep growing along beside them, and always remember every child can bloom when given the right conversation and the right environment.